can you make that Adam Beyers Drumcode sound on a Dawless system? That is today's video. Let's get into it right here and right now. Hey, what's up? I'm Analog Kitchen and thank you for checking out yet another video. Now, if this is your first time here, don't hesitate to click subscribe because you'll be updated whenever I upload a new video, but that is when you click that bell icon as well. A little side note, I'd like to thank all your new subscribers out there because you guys seem to really get into this vibe. I really dig it. You really dig it. Yay! We're building a community. Let's not be strangers. Leave a comment also. Now, getting into that Adam Beyers Drumcode sound. Now, for those of you that don't know who Adam Beyers is, he's a techno DJ and he comes from Sweden. He's got like one of the bigger techno labels called Drumcode. It's become that popular that we're actually now talking about a Drumcode techno sound. When you hear it out on that big sound system, it's one of those sounds you really can't miss. In one interaction that I had with him, he told me, well, remember Quadrophonia back in the days? Oh, cool that you got in touch, because if you don't know, that's a record that me and Oliver Abelos did like eons ago. He said that that was one of the records that actually inspired him to get into the techno sound. Either he's cool or I'm old, you decide. Now, Drumcode has had over 200 releases, I think, and there's some big artists that came up on it as well. Anna's released on there, Green Velvet has released on there, Bart Skills has released on there. They actually have got a back catalog of huge artists. It's cool to know that Adam Beyers really got inspired by something that I've done in the past, but now he's inspired me to think, can I make something on a Dawless system? Which means you're not using a computer, you're actually using your analog synthesizers to create that Drumcode sound. Is that possible? Well, that's a challenge right there. Now, actually, I've prepared something on my live set using the Model D, using the Tetra, using the Minitaur, using the Octatrack, obviously. So pretty much all the culprits are back in action, and we're actually going to, I'm talking about we even here, I'm going to see if I can create that philosophy that is behind the Drumcode sound. It's not a very difficult sound to master, easier done on a DAW, but if you know about a kitchen, then obviously you know we do stuff Dawless. So let's head over to the live set and let's see if we can make that work. All right, we're rolling. We're back at the live set. So if you're new to the channel, welcome, thank you. I'm Analog Kitchen, and what I'm going to do is tell you what I've got in the box briefly. Now, I've got a 909 drum computer today for sake of originality, because I want to use those ride cymbals that are very techno, and the ride cymbal and the claps on this machine. If you know it, if you got one, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Novation launch control is over here. That's controlling sounds on the Akai MPC Live, which has got MIDI mapping, luckily. So the MIDI mapping is going to the launch control XL, because I don't want to be menu diving. I don't want to get into the sounds too much. I don't want to get into menus too much if I'm working the sound around. Now, the Octatrack today has got different things. Techno sound that plays over here, as well as a few drum patterns. So those two are linked up, the Octatrack Mark I and the Akai MPC Live, they are linked up together. Then, sound-wise, the Minitaur by Moog, obviously by Moog. As you can see, we've got the Model D over here by Behringer. Then the Audio Things Micro Monsters over here. The multi-clock, which is syncing everything up together. The TB03, believe it or not, we're not going to use it today. And the Tetra, that is also going to get played today. Over on the far side, I've got an L12 live track, Zoom, a little desk, which is cool, versatile. I'm not too keen on the way it sounds, so I'm actually contemplating of building my own mixer. I've got a few schematics that I saw online that looks amazing, and then I can cater too much to the way I want this thing to sound. Did I leave out anything? Yes, the Hall of Fame by TC Electronic is going to take care of the reverb that's going to be coming from the bass drum. Now, I have prepared a little bit of a sequence that I do think resembles that sound, that Drumcode sound a bit. But before we do that, let's take out a kick. This is how we're going to start, yeah? So, on the multi-clock, port 1, 2, 3, and 4. Port 3 is actually the Akai and the Octatrack, and those are the bleeding heart of the operation. As I told you, a bit of a hip-hop, sort of like rare groove flow. It can pop, 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 pop. It's there because it needs to make sense that you just don't want to have a 4 on the floor just doing static stuff. With this kind of sound, there's already a lot of static influences in the beat, so you need something to break that up. So as a bit of a break beat on channel 4 here, I've got pop, 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 pop. Nice. Building that up. Right. So the next thing I'm going to do is add the kick drum, like this. I'm slightly faster in my BPM. Usually I'll stick around 125 when it's melodic techno. For this type of techno sound, I'll go a little bit faster. So the sound is 130 beats per minute. Gets a bit of a groove going, as you can hear. Reverb on the kick. I put it on the hall. Let's add a bass line. And it sounds like a long bass line, but actually they're short bass notes, as you can hear like this. But I like to gel them together because the transients will do something else if I've got longer notes. And gradually go down on the sound. So what I've done with this bass sound, for it to be thick, I used 3 oscillators. One is on a shark fin up, the other one is on a bit of a on the second waveform, you know, and then the third one is, the middle one is on a square wave. And going top to bottom, the top oscillator is on 32, the middle oscillator is on 16, and then the bottom oscillator is also on 32. So what I can probably do is take out all the drums so you can hear that sound. You can really hear the deepness here. You hear? This is a bit of an aggressive sort of like saw sound. And you can also sound design them here with the levels as well. Yeah, so that's the bottom one. Middle one. This is actually going to add character to this sound, yeah? I put the filter up on 12 o'clock for you to really hear it, but when things progress, you hear that the filter is doing something different here than, you know, here you got that Harley Davidson tailpipe thing going. And here you got more character in the deep end as well. So it already starts on 10 o'clock. If I'm twisting the knob and you're looking at the clock, at 10 o'clock there's already some grit going, which is not so much happening on that bottom oscillator, which means that every step of this filter, when it opens up, when the 3 oscillators are playing, actually they're grabbing you in a different sense. So see this as a frequency dial, going all the way down from maybe 30 hertz to, yeah, what is it, 1-2K maybe? With the resonance obviously in the higher regions, but that means that in your sound, in your song, the track can actually, this bass line can actually move itself up all the way from the bottom where it's hiding in the darkness, all the way to bang in your face. So that means that with little tweaks of this knob, you can actually get more adrenaline going, and you don't necessarily need to add stuff, because with this Drumcode sound, if you listen to the records, they're pretty simple in their makeup, but they do a lot because they make the ingredients work. This is key to, I guess, any kind of sound, is to make your ingredients work. Moving on. As I said, the middle oscillator, this one you can contemplate to just turn it down a little bit because it's very loud, obviously. And then the third oscillator, what have we got? Let's listen. Yeah, nice. Another thing is to detune it. Another thing also is to just add noise to it if you would like to, which you will hear if you turn it up. Of course, you have to turn it on then. Hallelujah. It's very, very loud. But I like to just stick a little bit of white noise on my sounds, because then they will get more aggressive as well. Now you don't hear that sound too much, but it's there. Listen. And you can hear those attacks as well. That's why I predominantly use that white noise on the song, so that it gets, the articulation will work a little bit more aggressively. Okay, moving on. So you now know what this thing is doing, yeah? Ready? Let's kick in that kick again. We're keep in mind to really listen to what's going on. And when you play this stuff out on a big sound system, it's completely different. Everything that sounds this on your headphone is going to sound like this on the sound system. Things get exaggerated. They will get pulled out of its proportion. So going in aggressively here when you're listening to it in the studio is definitely going to hurt people when you're out there. So keep that in mind. Yeah? Let's see. Get our hi-hats going again. Sometimes the artists on Drumcode use shorter hi-hats. I opted to go for a little bit more of a aggressive 909 hi-hat. I didn't use the 909 hi-hat on this one because I needed my hi-hat to be dead. This thing is alive. What do I mean with that? Every hi-hat comes in at a different timing. Everything just moves a little bit differently, and I don't need that on my hi-hat right now. I just want it to be sparse. Chap, 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 chap. Straightforward. Just hitting you in the face, kicking you in the ass. That's what I want, you know what I mean? Like it. All right. Then I had a bit of a drum going on the octave track, like so. Pop, 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 pop. Now this is all well and good, but this will start to get boring soon. So what you're gonna do is add something to break up a little bit of that sparse, sort of like hypnotic, straight four to the floor groove. And what I do is I'll hide my bass line in the bottom more, which means I'm turning down the filter more. I've got the filter on, say, 8 o'clock, yeah? Now listen what I've done with the Minitaur. The Minitaur is going to play an accent. You're going to say, are you serious? You're going to buy a synthesizer like that and only play an accent with it, but it will do something to that sound here. Now if we go in here again, let's mute this and mute this and mute this. I'll keep the drums on. I've detuned one of the two oscillators because usually so. And with the bass line, ba-da-da-da. So it goes down a little bit. That's the one. It was good to do it like this because it was out of tune. Oh my God. Okay. This is my friend, yeah? Now what you actually hear, that bit crush sound, it's of a cable that Kink, Strahil, and Konstantin, his engineer, has actually given to me. And that's a diode clipper cable, which means that the louder I'm going to stick the sound through the cable, the more it's going to sound bit crushed. Because in order for me to not use equalizing, that as you know my videos, you know that I don't want to EQ this stuff. I just like the character of the sounds. But what I do like is a little bit of saturation. So the more I drive that cable, the more it starts to introduce transients. Look it up, diode clipper. Okay, a funny side note. So now I've got my two oscillators playing. This in the beat with the bass line is already giving you a little. And where the notes are long when you listen to them in solo, well, ha, ha. As soon as this starts to play, the Model D, those notes are getting chopped off because those frequencies are actually interacting with each other. So now it sounds like the Minitaur is shorter. It's actually not shorter. Well, this thing, you have to believe me, will work wonders on the woofer speaker in the club. And that's also another way to introduce a bit of a groove and a push to people when they're dancing to it. Okay, enough talk. Hi-hats. Nice. It's cool to see that my hi-hats are mono. Here we go. Yeah, no, this is great. Thought I put something in mono, but that was not a rookie mistake I made, so. Okay, what else? Now, What the thing is also in a Drumcode sound is an arpeggio of some sort. Now on channel 8, you can see me hitting the octatrack all the time because I've got different things moving in the octatrack. So the octatrack is built out of 8 tracks of MIDI, 8 tracks of audio obviously, and then my audio is split up into 2 segments. Like the first 4 tracks are actually dedicated to samples that you can hear. As you can hear, I will play that later because that's some sort of a techno-y sound that I found that's actually in the memory. But on track 8, which is over here, if I'm going out of the chromatic mode and going to the quick mute mode, then track 7 is that one, track 6 is that one, and track 8 is going to be the Tetra, which plays an hypnotic kind of turn it off. You can see that you got different elements that you can build your track on. This to lay down a foundation of thick, lush, big bass frequencies. But this, if you're just going for a bit of a flow, take out the hi-hats right here. 1, 2, 3 with the hats and there's the right cymbal. So I just now turned on my 909 drum computer. But do you hear how things completely changed? Bassline. Tune the right to the right key. This I can build my track with. I really don't need anything else. What you usually see on a Drumcode track is that there's some sort of a vocal that will be introduced somewhere along the line and will get into the track, you know. I have a clap here. Getting crazy with the clap. I turn it off. 2, 3, and now when it comes time to break it down, it's literally just opening up filters. So hi-hat out. Let's go for the breakdown. Filtering down the bass with Tetra. Take out the kick. Now on the octatrack there's reverb, which means that it will introduce reverb on the Tetra and on the Minitaur. Actually put some reverb on there. I'm using the dark reverb. Do that same thing on my Tetra. So the crossfader now is introducing a wide wash of reverb on scene B. So if you have an octatrack, you just like assign what you want to this crossfader. I introduce a little bit of craziness here and go back. Now let's play. Put this on chromatic mode. All right. recording. Here we go. Nice. Just recorded that into the aux track. Hi-hats. Ah, you gotta love it. So reset this here. You can even introduce a TB03 if you want to, you know, but something is like going. Let's see what we have. Well, nothing's connected here, which means I need a cable for that. All right, my friend, what have you got for me? Let's see. Not sure. Here we go. That's the way I jam it out. Pretty much that's how I set up a sound like Drumcode-ish, you know? I mean, there's a lot of roads that lead to Berlin, you can say, but that's just my way of doing it with a Dawless sound. So in short, you need to just make sure that you know that you know where you're headed, you know? So pick and choose your sounds wisely. Turning off this sound here. Tune everything. I'll slowly take everything out. There you go. So how cool was that then? You know, we're getting into the flow. That's that Drumcode sound. Well, at least that's my interpretation of what the Drumcode sound is. Links to all the equipment noted in the fold below. Click more, page says show more, click more, so you'll see what the gear is that I'm actually using, as well as supporting me on Patreon. I am actually working on an album and I would like to make a science fiction sort of like a graphical backdrop for it, but before that I've actually changed my mind a little bit on what I'm going to do. So if you support me on Patreon, you're actually going to help me build my own mixer. I worked with Xone, I worked with the L12, but I want to make my own. I want to make my own mixer dedicated to the sound that I'm doing, so I can actually just show up in the club and, you know what I mean, boogie it out a little bit more. So that's that. Don't be a stranger. Leave a comment if you really like what you see, love what you hear. You know, I like to hear from you guys, and thanks to all the new subscribers. The channel is growing. Now, anything else? Yeah, I guess I'll see you in another video.